Have you ever met anybody who just worries about everything?
Yes.
Yeah? And Eric's saying, somebody back there saying, me, that's me, and looking at me. Have you ever met anybody that it doesn't matter what the situation is or what you're facing, they tend to think about, well, what's going to happen? What do we do next? What if this doesn't work? What if? And that's all they continue themselves asking, and it becomes, that person becomes a burden to be around. Because they're constantly thinking about what's, and some of you are thinking, well, that's me, I worry about everything. And it comes down to financial situations, family, your personal life, whatever. I remember I had a grandpa, because he's gone now. Well, he passed away, and that's what happens when you get old. He would worry about everything. And he was, especially when he was getting to his old age. He got older, and I remember I was still young, man. And grandma, he'd be like, I think I'm going to get a heart attack. I'm not feeling good. And she's like, just stop worrying about it. And the next day he'd be sitting there watching TV. He'd be like, I can't feel my pulse. Something's not right. I can't feel my pulse. And I'm thinking, well, my grandpa, are you wanting to die? Or what's going on? And finally grandma leaves the room one time. And my grandpa was Hispanic. And he's sitting there and he's watching TV. He's like, looks at me. Zain, come here. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I have a pain in my chest. I have a pain. And I thought he was just kidding. I was like, grandpa, just play it off, just whatever. No, go tell your grandma. He's like, I can't breathe, and I have pain in my chest. And I go to my grandma, and you know, when you're little, what they taught me is you don't interrupt adults when they're talking. So grandpa's actually having a heart attack, and I'm just sitting there waiting. And grandpa's like, what you want? And I said, well, grandpa wants some beef and an ice chest. She said, what? I said, grandpa said he wants beef and he wants an ice chest. And she said, no. And she knew what I was trying to say. Oh, he's got a pain in his chest. I said, yeah, that's what it is. Something like that. Don't let him disturb you about that. He just worries too much. And maybe you've met somebody where they just get to constantly one thing after another. We're going to look here at Philippians chapter 4, verse 6. And it's got so many good things in here that we're going to just unpack and walk through it. But I'm going to read through it first. Philippians 4, verse 6 says like this: don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Verse 8 says, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think of such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put into practice. And the God of peace will be with you. And we've been walking through this, and as Paul talking with the Philippians here, and we're going to look at this first section here where he says, don't be anxious about anything. Anxious indicates that the readers have to stop, and he's writing to the Philippians that we've already discussed. You really have to stop what you are habitually doing, when it becomes, some people tend to plan, right? And that's okay, I'm not saying don't stop planning, but some people tend to plan over and over and over and over again. And maybe you're sitting right here and you've thought, what am I going to be doing this summer? What does this summer look like? Well, I got scenario A, B, C, D, and E. And this is how I'm going to plan if this doesn't work. And this is how I'm going to plan if this doesn't work. But what Paul is strictly saying right here is you got to stop what you're habitually doing. And he begins telling him by don't be anxious. What he's really saying is don't worry. Don't worry about a thing. Don't play it over and over again. And Eric came up here and talked about his story. How his wife got rear-ended. He could have stopped everything and just kind of, oh my God, what's going to happen? Is she okay? Is the car going to be okay? He could have begun to worry about a multitude of things. But to stop and realize that you're in the hands of the Almighty and everything is under control is a different thing. And what Paul says here is don't worry, and he says he uses this verb and in a positive connotation in Philippians chapter 2, verse 20, where he's talking about the prediction of Timothy showing genuine concern and for the welfare of the church in Philippi. But what Paul's referring to here, he's saying don't be overly concerned with something. And the Greek word he's using is marimamnao, means to be overly concerned about something, worried is literally a waste of time. How many of you have ever worried about something, and then when you get to that final thing you're confronting, you're just like, what was I worried about? There was nothing to be worried about. And I wasted all that time, that energy, and I'm totally okay right now. And this is what worry does. We're talking about a worthwhile life in impossible situations. You want to have a worthwhile life. One thing that's going to get in between you enjoying life to the fullest is really constantly worrying. What's going to steal the joy out of today is going to be you and me worrying about everything. Maybe it's not everything. Maybe it's just that one thing. Something like one thing you constantly keep thinking about. You keep that just stays there. And understand this. Worry happens in the now. Because you only worry in the now. But it always has to do with yesterday or tomorrow. The Philippians, and you're wondering, well, why is Paul telling them don't be anxious? What are they worried about? What was going on in that time? What the Philippians were going through is persecution of their faith in Christ, and this caused them to be so anxious and so just overwhelmed and wondering, have you ever, I think you can agree with me, you become more anxious and worry more when in times of trouble. So this has even more, I'm thinking this, Paul sitting right there writing this letter, don't worry. I'm thinking, if I'm the Philippians in the church, this is crazy. You're telling me not to worry when they're threatening my life? Are you serious? What do you want me to do? Just think and just go, everything's fine about my day and everything's okay? Paul's literally telling them, don't worry about a thing. And if I'm the Philippians, I'm like, you're crazy. You don't know what we're facing. You don't know what I'm going through. Maybe you're sitting here thinking, you have no idea the situation I'm confronting right now. So why should I listen to you and not worry? Paul understands that in times of trouble, anxious thoughts naturally multiply. But he calls for the people to stop with the worrying. And what does he say? But in everything, by prayer, petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. See, when things don't go your way, and that's going to happen, trust me, you're going to worry even more. But what Paul says is say, let go of that, but by prayer, petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And maybe you're in here, and maybe you're not a Christian, and you're thinking, well, I don't want to talk to you about my worries, or why shouldn't I worry? There's plenty of people to talk to out there in the real world. Well, you really want to see what the people out there really say about worry and how they handle with it? I have a video clip here, and let's see what other people have to say about how they deal with worry. Trying to get the volume.
Hi, my name is Dr. Art Bowler, and I'm a psychologist in Manhattan, New York City, where I have my own private practice. In this clip, we're going to talk about how to stop worrying. Worry is really a wasted energy. It's a wasted use of the imagination, one has said. And worry really just takes up time and doesn't do anything to solve the problem. So what I say is choose a choice and go with it. If you have all the information you have, do all the research you can if it's about something you're about to buy or a decision you're going to make, and then choose a choice and decide that that is what you're going to do. Let the worry alone and make the choice. It's difficult to choose because when we choose, we eliminate other options. But sometimes when we choose, we learn about ourselves, the choices we've made, and why we've made them. So make your choice and stop worrying. Worrying is really a difficult thing for some people to not do. And again, psychiatric evaluation via a psychologist or a psychiatrist can be helpful in helping individuals who have a chronic sense of worry. This is Dr. Art Bowler, and this has been How to Deal with Worry.
Dr. Art Bowler, I get worried just watching it.